So I'm very excited about today's video. As you can see, we have some nice movements here of the stock price of AMD. We have some news that have been moving the stock. A lot of news coming out today, and you might wondering what kind of news is this because they have not had any earnings since the last time I updated you. So what is this? Well, AMD has had their big analyst day where they invite journalists from the big banks, from Wall Street, etc., where they talk about the future of the company and their goals and what they think in terms of revenue, etc., and also the future earnings about the products to keep Wall Street excited and also for the overall investor, maybe. Even though most investors do not um, think that this kind of information is available, it's actually quite easy. You just type in your email and you can get access to the financial analyst day that AMD have. So I will take you through that today. So I want to give you the news, the true video presentation from Lisa Su and the team. Some of it, obviously, as you can see, it's 4 hours. I watched it through it all or listened through it, so you don't have to do it. And just to confirm that the news that they have put out there today at Wall Street about the EPS future EPS numbers for AMD, the revenue gains, etc., are real, and I can confirm it's a real deal. They have been very aggressive here from the leadership side of AMD, and I will also put you through my calculations of where this might. Uh, how this might affect the stock price long term if they actually achieve the type of goals and the type of growth that they are saying here, going from the situation of today 5 years forward. What will it potential mean for the stock price? Obviously that's what we want to know as long-term investors. But yeah, before we go in here and continue and listen to Lisa Su, I just want to say thank you for being part of the channel. We are closing in on 7,000 subscribers here on YouTube, and obviously it's some great gains, and I want to continue to grow. And I see that a lot of you are watching the videos, so let's just keep that up. And also, I want some more help with to comment. I What I think is fun is building a community long term. That's a part of why I'm investing in a YouTube channel, and also put a like there to help with the algorithm. It's not as important nowadays that it was back in the days, but it still put a great signal out there that you like what I do. And if you want some specific topics, just add comments, and I might provide it for you. Obviously, I've covered specific stocks, but also putting out some overall just teachings about how to think about economy, macro, micro, also investing, etc. So just speak to me, and we can build this channel together long term. Anyway, that was about it for the presentation of today. As I said, I'm very excited to provide you with some insight here from directly here from their financial analyst day from AMD, the latest data that Wall Street has, and also the reason why the stock is moving up here today. Obviously, you guys should know the same type of source that the big dogs are using out there to actually trade and invest in the company long term. So yeah, this was the day and the presentation that affected the stock positively. And I would say, despite the market being a bit sour since the earnings, um, uh, you know, AMD has they have kept up the gains they had during the year quite well. So I'm I would say that's very impressive. So here you can see since 2012 going forward, the explosions. So patience investor here since the pandemic has finally been rewarded, but I think this is probably just the beginning. listening to Lisa Su and her thoughts about the future and also the rest of the management team of AMD. So yeah, let's go here and I will pick apart some minutes of this 4 hour um, presentation here and show you the most important things for you as an investor. And yeah, just some general information from Lisa Su and maybe the type of things that might affect the stock price and get you excited.
Talk about solving some of the world's most important challenges. We've actually added its high performance in AI computing because AI is such a large piece of the computing world today. But this is our goal in life. This is what we wake up every day to do. And when we look at where we are today, I like to say that AMD computing touches billions of people every day because it's true. When you look across, data center, cloud, some of the most important services that everyone uses in enterprises or personal, talk about edge and intelligent devices, talk about all of the different market segments where you need and use computing. You can see AMD throughout all of those places. And increasingly, you see AI everywhere as well. So that's going to be another theme of our day is that, yes, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about the cloud and the data center.
And obviously, high performance computing, cloud and data center, edge, intelligent devices, manufacturing, aerospace, healthcare, communications, consumer. This is the future, obviously, and you can see they are everywhere. Financial services, sciences, discovery. Type of company AMD is already and want to be in the future is everywhere. And the world will just become more integrated. The compute will continue to grow. The demand will grow all over the world. And being the second best company there after Nvidia will, I think, make investors in AMD long term a lot of money. It will, the market share of the company will grow very, 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 very much.
Those are the largest markets, but we're really seeing AI diffuse through all aspects of the business, including at the edge and in the client world. So, a little bit about just, focus areas and how we got here. When I look back, you say so much has changed over the last few years. If you think about how the market has really evolved over the past few years, but actually, for us, our strategy has stayed very consistent. I mean, this is what we said were our strategic pillars a few years ago. And when I look back on it, I say, these are exactly the things that we invested in, exactly the things that we were focused on. And I'll talk a little bit about how things have evolved over the last few years. Certainly, compute technology leadership, that's our foundation. We have to have the compute capability. But we said that data center was going to be the most strategic market for AMD. This is where we saw tremendous growth. This is actually the part of the industry that fits our capabilities the best, and we've really expanded our data center business, ensuring that AI goes across every aspect of our product portfolio was also a key pillar, and ensuring that we had the software. Many of you guys have asked us about our software and what we're doing around the software, so we'll talk more about that. And then also using the entire.
And don't forget when AMD bought Xilinx, uh, most investors, especially Wall Street, talked negatively about the kind of debt that this acquisition provided to AMD, and it wasn't like a long term. The long term bet was too expensive. A lot of investors thought, and the stock price was not rewarded for like 2 or 3 years straight based on that. But without that investment in Xilinx, they wouldn't be where they are today, competitive in the data center market. So sometimes you have to believe in the CEOs and the leadership of the companies you invest in, and also understand the tech behind and what's the long term prospect of the acquisitions.
Power of our IP portfolio to offer both standard as well as semi-custom solutions. And these are areas where we think over the long term, there are lots and lots of needs for compute in the industry, and you want to have sort of the right compute for the right workload. And so, you need sort of the whole tool chest to really go through that. And so, just taking a look at some of the progress over the past couple of years, I think our data center execution has been extremely strong. I mean, we've grown this business from sort of $2 billion in 2020 to this year estimated over 16 billion. Over 50% growth rate. And when you look at sort of the underpinnings of that, I think there's no question that when we started with the Zen roadmap family and Epic, I think people were wondering, hey, just how much traction are you going to get, Lisa? Is this a place where you have durable, long-term competitive advantage? And I think we've taken what was a very, very clear technology bet and really understood where the market is going. And as a result, you see Epic now in just about everywhere. So 10 out of the 10 largest hyperscalers, every one of the most important social media services. We're actually in over 60% of the Fortune 100 today and growing. And so that's been a really strong success story. And then we've also had our Instinct and our GPU product line, which, with MI300, MI325, and now the MI350 series, we've ramped this, faster than any other product in AMD history, with 7 out of the top 10 AI companies now using AMD Instinct products. The top.
And for you investors out there, the Epic, that's the first way into the data centers. That's more focused on the CPU side. The the thing that AMD has been outcompeting Intel long term, the computer processors units, and now the AMD Instinct. That's more of a GPU, the graphics processor units, and this is where the big money has evolved around, where Nvidia has become the biggest company in the world in terms of market share, etc. So, very strategic of AMD to continue first growing through the data center market with the Epic, and also improving through the AMD Instinct, and now first the MI300 X series, and then the MI350 series that they are having this year. Very successful launch, and as she's saying here, Lisa Su, 7 out of the 10 top companies, AI companies, have this, providing good foundation for long-term partnership.
Computers and many strategic partnerships that have been announced and are in the works. So, looking at some of the numbers, what has that meant to our business? We are now, let's call it roughly about 40% revenue share of the market in the most attractive segments of the market. So, large hyperscaler, very much standardizing AMD technology through our 5 generations, in addition to growing enterprise footprint. What that's meant is data centers now our largest segment, so almost half of our business, 47% of our business, to be approximate there, and it's growing. It's growing much faster than the other pieces. One, because the TAM is growing, and the other, because we are extremely well positioned from a product portfolio standpoint. On the AI side, we're going to talk a lot about AI today. We're going to talk a lot about data center AI. But I just wanted to, put the picture in terms of, what's been happening in the AI business for AMD. Clearly, the rate and pace of innovation in AI is faster than anything that we've seen before. We've compressed our schedules so that we went from what was a 2-year cycle to an annual cadence. I think we've done well with adoption of MI300, MI325, and MI355. But there is a huge step function in front of us with the MI450 series, and that's both in terms of technology, just sheer raw capacity capability, as well as going to our rack scale solutions, as well as, frankly, where the market is. So it's a confluence of, sort of technology at the right time for a market that is inflecting in a big way as we're going forward. Just a little bit of an overview on the client.
So the MI400 series and 450 series is the big bet here of AMD, obviously. The talking point, this is where they have a lot of collaborations with OpenAI, for example, and they're going to deploy like 60 gigawatts of that. And I will not show you this today, but when I listened to this 4-hour presentation, they did actually told us that they have similar types of deployment that they have with OpenAI, they will have that with other hyperscalers. And I thought, when I heard that, that was something very interesting, because it was one of the journalists there covering who said, how are you estimating this huge growth, the 35% in a compounded annual growth rate of the revenue, etc., the earnings per share growth? How can you know? And they kind of said something that they did not want to talk too much about it, but to my ears, it sounded like they had huge deployment incoming for the 450 series, the GPU launches there with a lot of hyperscalers. I know they have close relationships with Meta, with Microsoft, obviously, with OpenAI. So we will see, but I'm really excited that this 25 billion per year deployment with OpenAI might be similar amount with also other companies long term. So that's one opportunity that's hard to comprehend at the moment, because now, like, there, as she said, 32 to 34 billion is like the revenue for a whole year, and later on the deployment per year for a single customer will be like 25 billion. So that's the growth rates will be insane.
Business. You're going to meet Jack Keen today. Some of you may not have met him before. He's our new leader in the client and gaming segment. I think we've done a fantastic job with this business. People have often asked us, what do we think of the PC market? I mean, the PC market is a great market. It's a market where a lot of silicon is consumed. This is how people really touch compute. What was most important for us in this market is that we picked the segments where technology mattered, and we focused on those segments and ensured that we had product leadership. So when you think about premium, when you think about gaming, when you think about enterprise, those are the most attractive portions of the client market. And that's where we have done exceptionally well, particularly over the last 12 to 18 months. And so when you put all that together, we are currently at 28% client revenue share, but we're really inflecting in this business as well, over 50% of the desktop CPU channel. And we're at a place where AI is really in its infancy in the PC market. And so as that scales, I think our product portfolio strengthens, and we see this as a growth market for us as well. And then you're going to hear from Salil Rajay on the embedded business. And the embedded business is really primarily the former Xilinx business together with the embedded x86 business. And what you see in this business is, put aside, there's been, some, let's call it, noise over the past couple of years as there's been, a bit of inventory correction overall. But what we see is an extremely strong business that has access to a set of markets that AMD never had access to before. So over 7,000 customers, automotive, industrial, aerospace and defense, communications. We are in all of the largest firms from a technology standpoint. And perhaps in this business, the most important metric is not near-term revenue, because the near-term revenue is very much a matter of things that happened in the past. But the most important thing is design win growth. And what you're going to hear from Salil is, since the acquisition of Xilinx and the integration into AMD, we have grown design wins at a significantly faster pace than sort of the former Xilinx from an FPGA-only portfolio. Our design wins have exceeded $14 billion in 2024. We're on a path to exceed $16 billion this year, so over $50 billion of new design wins at a CAGR of 21%. And that gives us great confidence of the long-term revenue trajectory. And Salil will talk about some of the ways where bringing the portfolio together has really ended up with tremendous synergies. And then one area that we haven't talked a lot about with this audience, but I thought this would be a good time to bring out, is where we are with semi-custom design wins. If you think about...
So they continue to speak about these different segments here, and I'm gonna see if I can find the interesting spots here from the presentation. So here she addresses the TAM, that was a talking point from the presentation, the TAM of the AI market, and you might read some headlines about the AI market going to $1 trillion.
That is greater than $1 trillion by 2030. We've seen, if I look at our previous forecast at greater than 500 for 2028, we're seeing that number come up significantly. And then we expect that there will be extensions of that growth rate going into 29 and 30. So it's an exciting market. There's no question. Data center is the largest growth opportunity out there.
And about half a year ago, I think they said the TAM was $500 billion. So this is like the double. Now it's $1 trillion. So it's quite hard to estimate exactly, but this is a huge TAM in terms of AI
And one that
and data center.
AMD is very, very well positioned for. So that kind of sets the stage of where we're choosing to invest going forward. So now, in terms of our strategic pillars, similar types of things. I mean, what I really want to emphasize is, our strategy has been very, very consistent, and I think you need to be when you're in the technology space, because frankly, these product cycles are long. These are our strategic pillars, and this is how we're going to organize the day for you.
So this is not so complicated. It wants to extend the compute and technology leadership with the GPUs, CPUs, FPGAs, networking, etc. They want to expand the data center leadership also. Obviously, improve the software, the ROCm solutions, closing in on CUDA, and also having that open source kind of play, similar to how Windows operate compared to Apple. And also power AI everywhere. As we know, AI will grow into like everyday products, microwaves, etc. It's already happening. So AMD wants to be strong everywhere here, and this is like the high performance roadmap for providing compute everywhere. And as you hear here, at least as you hear, they really know what they are doing. I'm going to continue here. Obviously, the data center AI opportunity, the MI450 series is huge. The revenue growth on track of 10 of billions of dollars 2027. So I'm going to start from here, and we will soon enter some where Lisa talk a bit about the revenue growth, and more specific about numbers that also are moving the stock price today.
Scale up bandwidth, and we've also co-developed with these, and so we have multiple hyperscaler AI natives and sovereign opportunities that are well underway, and we talked about a revenue target of let's call it tens of billions of dollars in 2027. So I can say that we're on track to that. But we also see a very clear path to double-digit share in this very important data center AI market, and that translates into, let's call it, a growth rate of over 80% AI revenue CAGR over the next 3 to 5 years. So when we talk
over 80% AI compounded annual growth rate, that's insane. Do not forget that the CEO of AMD said that, and also usually she's quite conservative. So let's follow up and see if that is going to happen, because if it does, that market share will hit some unfathomable place.
Financial model today, we're going to frame it over the next 3 to 5 years. And so this is kind of what we see as our potential, given the customer traction, both with the announced customers as well as customers that are currently working very closely with us. Now, as exciting as the data center AI revenue opportunity is for us, the other message that we want to leave you with today is every other part of our business is firing on all cylinders, and that's actually a very nice place to be. Some of the other key targets that we're going to talk about today are areas where we think we have the ability to grow significantly ahead of the market dynamics. So on the server side, Dan McNamara is going to show you, sitting currently at approximately 40% share, we have a clear path to over 50% revenue share of the server market over a larger TAM over the next 3 to 5 years. Jack will talk about our client revenue market share. We're sitting, let's call it, in the high 20s right now. Again, a clear path to over 40% client revenue market share in this 3 to 5 year time frame. And then Salil will talk about what we see in the embedded market. Again, the opportunity to grow significantly ahead of the market to over 70% of the embedded adaptive revenue market share over the next 3 to 5 years. So I think all of these are really exciting targets. I think each of the businesses will,
And Lisa, we investors also thinks it's very exciting targets.
really go through their strategy, their product roadmaps, and why they see a clear line of sight to this. At the AMD level, I want to give you some ideas of how we think about revenue growth at the AMD level. So at the AMD level, what we would say is we expect to really inflect in overall revenue growth over the next 3 to 5 years. We've done very well over the last few years, growing over 20%, but we really see the opportunity to now take the overall company, at a scale of, let's call it a baseline in 2025 of $34 billion to grow at over 35% CAGR at the total company level. And that's broken up into the data center business growing well ahead of the market at over 60% CAGR. And the core businesses, that's client and embedded, growing also well ahead of the market at over 10% CAGR. So that kind of gives you a flavor of the type of growth that we're talking about. It's an exciting growth trajectory that we have. I'm going to leave the rest of the financial model to Jean, so she'll have a bunch to talk about as we wrap up the day towards the end. But that just gives you, kind of a flavor of why we're so excited about this time in the industry and this time for AMD. I think we have just all the confluence of events that you would want to have if you're in tech today, right? We have a large and growing TAM, over $1 trillion TAM at the data center level, and that adds at the company level. I think we have a fantastic product portfolio. I think as a team, I think hopefully you will have seen that we are good at execution. When we say that we're going to do something, we're going to do it. We have great foundation with deep strategic partnerships, and the data center has tremendously expanded, and we've expanded our capabilities as well. So with that, let me turn it over to the team to give you all the details. So Mark, you want to join me, please?
And before we end this video, now listening to Lisa Su and everything she said, I want to break down to you what type of revenue we might see in the future. She talked about 35% annual compounding growth over 5 years, 3 to 5 years, let's say 5 years. And she talked a lot about the market share and the prospect of growing. Also, if you listen to the whole presentation, they talked about $20 per share in earnings. So all these things matter in terms of long-term growth for the stock price. And as shareholders, obviously, we want this share price to go up. And if you believe that investing through actually understanding the fundamentals of the company matters, as I do, I'm not like investing on like day trading or momentum, etc. Or for me, it's long term, it's fundamentals, etc. Then these kind of things is very important. So she said the revenue of $34 billion as of today. So this is probably the latest quarter, but as of today, $34 billion for the latest 12 months. And if we use that number, so $32 billion, and we multiply it, and she said 35% per year. And she said it's going to happen 3 to 5 years. I will just use the best example, 5 years. And we will end up at some amazing place. I think I should have used an ad block here. I went into the Microsoft Edge here, so it's no ad block in this anyway. Um, you will see $143.5 billion. So that means basically that going from now $34 billion, if what Lisa Su stated was true, and she's usually quite conservative when she speaks, in 5 years they may end up at 140, for example, $45 billion in revenue. And what does that mean in terms of valuation? Well, if we have a price per sales as we have at the moment, around 13, let's just multiply this with 13. The market cap of AMD should be, if the valuation is the same in terms of price through sales, that for this type of revenue, the KPI will still be, for example, we are willing to pay 13 times the revenue. If we are still willing to do that, and I think we will, if the company gets even more exciting to follow, then the market cap will be close to $1.9 trillion, and that's a lot of gains from today. That's almost 5x from today's market cap in 5 years. So we might see an 80, 90%, almost 100% market cap gains here going forward. This is obviously a speculation. You always have to do your own due diligence, but I'm just talking to you about if the company gets even more exciting and more of Wall Street starts to invest in it and follow the company, and the numbers are actually the truth here that Lisa are talking about, it would not be insane that that is the place we are heading to. So that is why, obviously, AMD is one of the companies I'm investing in. But you should always do your own due diligence. I'm a controller, but I'm not a financial advisor. I don't not have that type of licenses that you can just go out there and trust me. Just think about me as just some guy on YouTube that are like to talk about economy. You have always have to do your own due diligence. I just want you help you understand how people are making money out there. So this is how I think about the company. And also the earnings per share is very interesting. She said $20 per share long term here. And well, at the moment, obviously, the metrics for EPS is a bit out of touch. It's like, I think, 134. So it will not be like that in the future. But if we say, for example, if this company becomes very exciting, we might see earnings per share around 60 for an exciting tech stock, 60 in PE. So price per earnings is 60. That is not impossible. That will leave us with multiplying the earnings of $20 per share with 60. So that's 1,200. So that's also about more than 5x from where we are now. So both metrics, the revenue and the earnings, implies that this stock might grow more than 100% per year if they actually meet the targets that they are doing. Obviously, a lot of things can happen in the economy going forward, so stock might not be as valued in the future like they are today. Obviously, we are in a quite hot market, so that is something you have to think about. But in terms of a company to invest in today, exciting companies today that have this type of growth, I think AMD is quite unique. So that is why I wanted to provide you with some insights here today. Anyway, thanks you for tuning in today. It was great having this talk with you, and on to next time. Bye.